I'm with the legendary MMA legend turned boxer, Cris Cyborg. She's got a big fight coming up on the undercard of Terence Bud Crawford, a boxing superstar, on December 10th in Omaha, Nebraska. How you doing, Cris?
I'm doing great. Training, excited, happy for the opportunity.
Well, like I said, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a big fan of MMA and boxing. So let's start there. How did this opportunity come about?
You know, I always been one of my dreams doing unboxing fights. I know that it'll take a little longer, but you know the opportunity coming, and then I was ready. So I'm happy to have do my. This is my second professional fight boxing. So I'm happy to the opportunities. It's gonna amazing card fight. It's gonna be an honor be with Crawford in the semi card, and nice. I'm happy. You know, it's the one of my dream.
Now, before we get started, though, on the fight itself, a lot of people, maybe boxing fans, have heard of you, but maybe they don't follow the MMA sport. You grew up in Brazil, and you were a handball player before you found your way into a cage, into a ring. Could you talk about your upbringing a little bit?
You know, before I always loved the sport. I play, you know, a lot of sports in my school, in high school. So I play soccer. I did handball, basketball, track and field. You know, but I really have a lot of scholarship because I was the handball. They really helped me in the track and field. So when I was 19 years old, I was in university already, and the one guy saw me play handball. Then he came talk to me. He said, "Man, I think you can be a great fighter." And I told him, "I don't like to fight. This is not for me." And they said, "No, come to the gym." So then I came to the gym. I trained a little bit because I always, you know, I always compete. My whole life I was competing, you know, when I was a teenager. So I told him, I would like to do one fight for see how's it work. So in 6 months, I did my first fight, and I love it. I say, man, I born for this. You know, I even don't have any techniques. I do the handball throw and the girls when they fight, you know, the beginning of my career. But I was have a heart. I say, no, I want to do this. So then I started learning, I started training. So, but in 6 months, I did my first fight, and I stopped to do another sport. And I was 19 years old. I say, you know what? And I'm gonna be a fighter. And then moved to America when I was 21, and I got my first title. You know, it was a Strike Force title.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, Strike Force, which then became UFC. You've been an
Yes.
Invicta champion. You're now a
Bellator.
Bellator world champion. What is it about boxing, though, that kind of draws you to that sport?
The one is because it's one of my dream. I know I did all the sports separate. I compete Muay Thai separate. I compete wrestling by yourself, jiu-jitsu. So the just one I did not did it was boxing. So they say when the opportunity show up, it was in Brazil. I say, you know what, I want to do. So it's the one of my dream, and then I opened the door for another things. You know, I always did the sparring with the girls from boxing for training for my MMA fights. So this is for help improve my striking game. So for me, it's one of my dreams. So now show up for me. I'm really happy. I've been training. I've been learning. You know, this is gonna be good, not just for boxing, but for me improve my game to MMA.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. You see a lot of MMA fighters now getting into the boxing ring. You don't see a lot of boxing people getting into MMA. Talk about the difference, you know, going in between sports. Obviously, you're an MMA, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian, and now going into boxing. What is the difference, you know, between each sport
You
in
know,
training?
it's really hard you come to boxing to go to MMA because there's a lot of things to learn. So, example, if I'm gonna fight somebody from boxing, I don't want to do boxing for you. I'm gonna take you down and try to meet you. So you're gonna have to learn a lot of defensive wrestling. You're gonna have to defend jiu-jitsu. It's a lot of tools for you to learn. You have to, okay, if you're coming from boxing to do MMA, you have to train it 24/7 every day for you can learn the basics. You know, like you go every day training jiu-jitsu, not just do your camps close to the fight. You have to do it every day. You have to do like school every day work, learning jiu-jitsu, learning wrestling, because the fight starts stand-up. But the people know you're good boxing. Why am I gonna box with you? You know, I have another tools to beat you. So it's a little harder. It's more harder for sure, you know. And the boxing, you know, the fight starts stand-up. So you already train a little bit boxing, but for MMA, you know, I know boxing is different, but you already have a little bit the basics, you know, because the fight starts stand up. So it's different when you come from boxing to MMA. You know, I believe it's easier, you know, to go to boxing because you already have the strike. Do you put somebody from the boxing, you're back in the floor? You know, it's the beauty and the stand-up for you block the kicks. You have to change the way you do your stand-up because they can kick you cannot block. So there's a lot of details.
Right, right. A lot more disciplines to take into account. Now, you see someone like Claressa Shields, obviously a boxing superstar, but she has that MMA bug. You know, she's won, I think, a couple fights. She's had a few fights under her belt, and she still wants to get in there and get in, you know, into the cage. What would be the biggest advice you would have for her?
You know, the big difference because of payday, you know, MMA now pay very better than the boxing women, you know. I think this is the one of the thing get her attractive. And but the reality, you know, the one advice I give to her, she have to start, you know, been training every day grappling, every day jiu-jitsu, every day wrestling, you know, because if people want to fight MMA, her is gonna take her down, you know, and this is you have to learn to defend, you know. This is the good thing because they know she's good to strike, so they don't want to strike her. So is a focus on her jiu-jitsu and the wrestling, the training every day, every day, every day.
Have you seen her fight in MMA, and if you did, what did you think of her so at this stage?
You know, she did very good. You know, I heard her last fight, the first fight. She's learned fast. She learned fast. You know, I think it's just a focus on training every day, and I think yes. And in the beginning, you know, it's gonna be hard, but you know, she training every day and learn. But she's good, learn quick. She's young, she learned quick. You know, she's focused at least 2 years training every day MMA, and the tools have to learn for sure. It's gonna be good and be trouble.
Now, there's another boxer that I know you're really good friends with, and you're one of his biggest supporters, future champion out of DFW, where I'm based, Virgil Ortiz Jr. How did that relationship start with him and his dad? I know you guys have been in the gyms together, but how did that start?
You know, I met them then training at Riverside, and they have the opportunity to meet them. And Ali help us meet each other, the reporter, and
Right.
and then we start training. You know, I love training. I train with Virgil. I learn a lot, and he's senior, and I'm really fan of his son. His son is very good, humble, and train really hard. And then yeah, they learn a lot. You know, it was a nice relationship with training, and he was training close by to my house, so it was easy, you know, for go training for him, and it was great. He went to one fight boxing with me too, MMA, no boxing, MMA. So we learned a lot.
And so you did actually train under Virgil's dad, Virgil Senior.
Yes, then I was in the Riverside, so I was came training to before with him, and it's gonna be 2 years. I think for 2 years I was training together.
Wow, wow. Well, hopefully Virgil gets his shot at a title. I know he's itching to get that title shot.
Yes.
What now? You're fighting another MMA fighter who fights in Bellator, Gabrielle Holloway. How much do you know about her? Obviously, you know her from MMA, but what about? She's had a couple fights in boxing, but what do you know about her?
I know she did her first fight 2016 boxing. She number 10 in the world as MMA. She fought her like Raquel Miller. You know, she lost by a points. Raquel Miller is the champion. So I've been sparring Raquel Miller, you know, for some times too for MMA fights. So it's gonna be great opponent. You know, I know she's tough. I know she's an Army veteran, and just to be prepared, be ready, take the time.
You really do your homework. It seems you really know your history on these fighters.
You know, it's my team. Is doing good job, make a good job. My team.
Well, what is your ultimate goal? You mentioned, you know, obviously going from MMA to boxing, you acknowledge it's not as hard of a transition, but what is your ultimate goal in boxing?
You know, I want to do the biggest fight for my fans, and I've been training hard and I'm learning. I know boxing is a new sport, you know, and I want to be the big fight. Maybe I can fight Jessica McKenzie, you know, the champion for all the belts with same weight. But let's see what is the opportunity for me. I like to focus first in the next one Holloway I have and keep working, keep learning. And I know I have to defend my title in MMA too. So I just want to keep working, learning, and do the biggest fights for my fans.
Did you see her last fight, Cris?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, you were there. What did you think? She had a tough fight there.
That was a great fight. It was a great fight. It'd be a good fight.
Now you're on this card under Crawford, and we'll wrap it up here in a second. Fighting in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. Everybody in boxing, as you know, you're a fan, wanted Spence and Crawford.
You know, for me, it's an honor. It's an honor being the card. I know it was a short notice, but then they invited me to be the same card at the Crawford, and for me, it's an honor. You know, it's one sport that just started, and I'm really happy, thankful to be part of this, and I'm gonna be a best and happy to see the Crawford fans are gonna know a little bit about me, and it's a great opportunity.
If Crawford gets through this fight and gets a chance to fight Spence next year, who do you like in that fight?
I'm gonna be a Crawford. Yeah.
I don't blame you for saying that. I don't blame you for saying that. What should we expect on Saturday, December 10th in Omaha, Nebraska? It'll be on BLK Prime. This big opportunity in front of boxing fans worldwide. What should we expect from the MMA legend?
You know, I'm very thankful for the opportunity. You know, the people knows how I'm my fight style. I'm looking forward to by KO for sure. But you know, I work hard. I'm learning about a little bit boxing. You know, want to take. You're waiting for the moment, right moment. So you know, I know it's. I would like to do some rounds, and maybe it can be 4 rounds. You know, it's a lot of experience for me. It stayed in the ring, but you know for sure, if the opportunity coming to finish the fight sooner, I will.
That's what you like to do, right? That's what you like to do. All right. Well, you heard it here. Cris Cyborg, MMA legend, superstar of the sport, making her roads into the boxing world. Cannot be on a bigger fight card with Bud Crawford, the pound-for-pound king. And I look forward to the fight, and I hope you get a lot of boxing fans in the process, and I'll be watching your journey.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cris.